Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in teaching English in China, keep watching this video as I delve deep into the new laws surrounding South Africans wanting to teach English in China, as well as the nitty-gritties of how to come here and the kinds of things that you need to be looking out for or looking. So what do you need to teach English in China? First, you need to be a native English speaker. So there are a couple of countries that are considered native English speaking countries. In Africa, South Africa is the country considered to be a native English speaking country. There are some people who argue that if you are non-native and you studied or obtained your bachelor's degree in a native English speaking country, you do qualify to teach English in China. I cannot confirm nor deny because I haven't had that experience as I'm South African. So if you're a South African, you're considered a native English speaker. Even if ukhuluma isiZulu, even if ubulala Xitsonga, even if wabua, you are considered a native English speaker simply because you come from South Africa, and South Africa is considered an English speaking nation. The second thing that you will need is a bachelor's degree or higher. Your bachelor's degree can be in any field. You just need to authenticate that degree. Now, previously, it was much easier and a lot cheaper to authenticate a degree in South Africa because all you had to do was take a copy of your degree to the Department of Education, and then they would look at it, give you with the original, guys, by the way, copy and original to the Department of Education. They looked at it and then they'd give you a letter saying, hey, we recognize Rhodes University as a valid institution in the South African educational what. I actually never read the letter, but it's along those lines. And then you would take that letter to DERCO, which would then authenticate your degree. And then you take that degree, once DERCO has done its thing, to the Chinese embassy for them to authenticate, and then the process would be done. But now, as of the 2nd of December 2019, the process has changed. Now you're required to get verification of your degree from SAQA. I don't even know if you pronounce it as SAQA, but I've decided to pronounce it as SAQA. SAQA, SAQA. Anyway, so in order to get this from SAQA, you need to, one, send an email to SAQA. I will put the email address in the description below. And then in your email, you need to give them a little bit of information. So your valid South African ID, or any ID, I guess, if you're not South African. So an ID number, your full name and surname, and details of your qualifications. So bachelor's degree, Rhodes University, maybe the year, I guess. And then once that is done, they will then reply to the email with an invoice. This is where it gets a little shady, and I'm just like, because as far as I can remember, the process when it was with the Department of Education was free. But anyways, now the price depends on which institution you went to. How shady is that? Anyways, so the prices are actually not set, so you don't know how much it will cost you until you get that invoice from SAQA saying, hey boo, we can do this thing for this amount, or you have to pay this amount for you to get the information that you will need. And once they have your proof of payment, they will send you a verification letter. So the same letter that you would have gotten from the Department of Education, they will send it to you. But you gotta pay money, and we don't know, like, you never know how much money you're gonna pay. Anyways, you can tell, guys, I don't agree with this new procedure, but hey, what do I know? Anyways, this also takes a little longer than the old process because the sending in of emails, the waiting for proof of payment and things like that will take a lot longer than just rocking up at the Department of Education and getting this letter same time. Anyways, continue, South Africa. Once that is done, you need to then take that as well as your degree copy to DERCO. DERCO is the one that will put the red seal. So wait a minute, guys. Let me go get the document so that I can show you. So basically DERCO will take your documents and then we'll put this seal as well as this little ribbon, so to say that, hey, we recognize this, we've certified it, it's proper, that's the real thing. Inside there's the letter that you would have gotten from SAQA as opposed to the Department of Education. Just make sure you don't break this, you guys. This is the important seal. Anyways, once you have authenticated your degree, you then have to take it to the Chinese embassy, and then the Chinese embassy will put a Chinese embassy seal to say, hey, this is authentic. So this would be a properly authenticated document. That's what it's supposed to look like, in case you didn't know. The third thing that you'll need is a clear criminal record. You can get this from your police station, your local police station. I personally recommend that you start with this document and obtaining this document because it genuinely takes forever. So the rules, or like the policies, say that it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, but honestly, believe me when I say it doesn't. It literally takes forever, unless you live in Johannesburg or close, maybe in Pretoria, where the place is just close to the records place and you can, like, they can just take it there. But if you live outside of Gauteng, I suggest that you do this first. I lived in Grahamstown and it took 2 months. Guys, something that's supposed to take 3 weeks took 2 months. And then I got my second one this year because I needed to get a new one. After a year of being abroad, I needed a new one. So I was like, okay, in August, I applied for one. And guess what? I got it in December. So August, September, October, November, December. Literally 5 months. So, and that was me applying for it from Mpumalanga. So if you really want to get your police clearance quicker, I suggest you either do it in Johannesburg or you do it in advance. If you live in the Bundus, like me in Bushbuckridge, just go to Joburg, my friend. Just take that bus, go to Joburg and have it done there. Honestly, it like saves so much time, so much heartbreak. It just saves time. The other thing is there's a possibility of them making a mistake. For example, in my first one that I did when I was initially coming to China in Grahamstown, they had misspelled my name. My surname was spelled as Makwela instead of Makwele, and it meant that the document was useless. Fortunately, I was able to email them and have them reprinted. But also, it's like such things happen, so you need to be aware of that. Once you have your police clearance, you also have to go through the process of authenticating it. But with the police clearance, all you have to do is take it to DERCO to put the red seal that I showed you earlier, and then from DERCO you take it to the Chinese embassy. I actually suggest that you just keep all the documents and take them to DERCO and the Chinese embassy at the same time, but because I'm telling you how each document can be authenticated, I will repeat the process over. But I don't think that it makes sense for you to be taking it every time you get each document. It's better if you just take everything all at the same time. The fourth thing is you need a Tefl certificate in order to teach English in China. The most acceptable and common one is the 120-hour Tefl certificate. So if it's like an 80-hour or something less than 120, honestly, it will not be accepted. So just do yourself a favor and just do the 120-hour Tefl certificate. You can do more. I've seen people do 350, 360. I was personally one of those people who was like, I was gonna do more, and then like after doing my 120 hour, I just got lazy and didn't do the rest of it. But I still got my 120 hour Tefl certificate, so that was good. The places you can get a Tefl, Daddy Deals, as well as Eye to Eye. I will also put a link to both Eye to Eye and Daddy Deals. You can choose the one that you want. It doesn't really matter where you get it from as long as you have a Tefl certificate. Okay, now with a Tefl certificate, for example, my Tefl certificate was with Eye to Eye, which is not a South African company. So I couldn't take it to the Department of Education. So how do I authenticate it? Well, I took mine to a notary to get it notarized, and after notarization I took it to DERCO and then to the Chinese embassy. A lot of people say, hey, you don't have to authenticate your Tefl certificate, whatever, but you know what, I never confirmed that or denied, nah. But I would suggest that you just authenticate everything for safety reasons. I feel like the fact that there is this option to notarize and then authenticate means that, well, if the process is there, there might be a need, yeah, well, so I suggest you just do all your documents, just authenticate all your documents, except for the medical record. I didn't authenticate that. Anyways, talking about medical record, the first thing that you'll need is a clear health bill. So you need to make sure that you are healthy. In order to do that, there's usually a form in which you fill in your information, and then you go to a local doctor who will then, a GP or your GP, who will then take some tests, make sure that you're healthy, and then that will be your clear health bill whatsoever. You don't have to authenticate this because when you do arrive in China, you will be required to do another health check with a recognized Chinese hospital. So you don't necessarily have to authenticate that. It's just to start the process. And with regards to the form, your school should be able, the school that you choose should be able to give you this form. If they don't, you can ask me. I think I have one in my email somewhere. But yes, you need a form where you can put your health information and stuff like that. This form that I have is both in Chinese and English. That helps because you are doing it for China. Yes, so those are the 4 things that you require to teach English in China. So number 5 would be, how do I actually get a job in China? Well, first I suggest that you join groups such as South Africans Living in China on Facebook, just to hear an idea of what life in China is like for a lot of people, because wow, guys, people go through a lot. And I think that before even choosing to come live in China, you should just read some of the posts and see what people have been experiencing, whether or not you're cut out for those things. Secondly, after joining the groups, if you feel like you really do want to come to China, I think the second thing you should do is just do research about China in general to see which part of China you want to live in. For instance, I live in southern China and it's currently winter and this is what I'm wearing. Why do I live in southern China? Because I come from Bushbuckridge. It's literally in line with Limpopo, so it's very, very warm there, hot actually. So I didn't want to go live in the north of China where there is snow and it's like below 10 degrees. So do your research on where you want to live. China also has different types of cities, so first tier, second tier and third tier cities. The first tier cities are like your big cities like Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, all of those, and then you have like not so popular cities but they're still big, and you have really, really small cities. I currently live in a really, really small city, which means that there aren't that many foreigners here. There's like 2 and I'm 1. So there's 1 other foreigner in my specific city. So just make sure you choose your cities according to the kind of person that you are. Like, you can't be in a small city if you're a party person or you are not really here for the Chinese cultural immersion experience. Because I personally was like, 我喜欢中文，我要学习中文. I was like, I want to learn Chinese. I want to be in a position where I don't have that much access to English, which will force me to learn Chinese. Hence, I chose a smaller city. But some people are just like, hell nah. I mean, yeah, and there are different struggles for different cities. So if you live in a bigger city, I have a friend who lives in a bigger city, but she's just like, girl, monati everywhere, and I came here to save, and like I'm just like, I ain't got no money. So things like that. So the last thing is, how do I get a job in China? Well, you remember how I told you about those groups? Yeah, if you go onto the South Africans Living in China group, you will find that there's actually a lot of people who post jobs. These are called recruiters, and you can just add one of them and they can help you find a job. The second platform is online. Just type Teach English in China and you will see a couple of websites. I like the Serious Teachers website as opposed to sites like Dave ESL, because thereby there's a lot of crooked people. But anyways, there are a couple of places that you can you can look for jobs in. I just suggest that you go into the South Africans Living in China group and you're like, hey guys, please recommend a trustworthy agent that I can use a recruiter that I can use to find a job in China. I think that's much easier because people will tell you the people that they use and who help them find a job, which means that at least they're more trustworthy and you're most likely not going to get a shady person. And then secondly, you will need to have WeChat, because most of the schools as well as recruiters use WeChat to advertise the different jobs that are available, as well as to conduct the interviews. And then the other thing that you'll need is a intro video. I've done a video on intro videos and the kinds of things that you should include in an intro video, so I will link that in the description below, because I am not technologically advanced enough to put it somewhere here like other people. So if you are currently teaching English in China and you think that I missed out on certain things, do put them down in the comments so that other people can see and basically, you know, get on with the program. Just as a little extra, guys, just as a little extra, what should you look out for? So basically, in order to teach English in China, you need a Z visa, which is a work visa, right? So in order to get a Z visa, you need all of the things that I've listed. So native speaker, clear criminal record, a bachelor's degree, a Tefl certificate, you know, all of those authenticated. If you have those, as well as a clear health thing, you can apply for a Z visa. You're qualified to apply for a Z visa. However, we have had people who are South Africans who are clearly native English speakers and clearly have all those things end up in jail. Why? So if you have all of this, you can get a Z visa, which is a work visa to work in China. However, some schools are very funky, so they'll be like, Z visas take like forever, so maybe you should come on a tourist visa and then we'll transfer your tourist visa to a Z visa. Some people have done it and have gotten away with it, but honestly, I would not recommend it on anyone else, because you are going to a foreign country in which it is illegal to teach in any visa other than a Z visa, which means that if the authorities find you, you're literally gonna go to jail and get deported. It's just not worth it. And sometimes, because you are in a new country, if the school decides they don't like you, right, there's nothing you can do. You have no legal recourse because you're working there illegally to start off with. So I think it's just easier. And it's just easier to do the right thing. And some schools really do turn on people. I mean, I told you guys, go to the Facebook group and just see what people have been experiencing, because some schools will literally be like, hey, I need someone who says water instead of water. And like, then you are fired because you really can't say water. And like, if you're not working there legally with the right visa, it becomes more difficult for you to get any legal recourse or things like that. So I just suggest, like, just do the right thing from the very beginning. Don't like be in a hurry to go. You're not missing out on anything. Literally, guys, they hire all year round, especially for training centers. They hire all year round, so you can get a job at any time when your documents are ready and you are able to go on the correct visa. So if a school says, hey, tourist visa, just be like, no thank you, I prefer to go on a Z visa. If they insist, then choose another school until you find the one that will provide you with the right legal documents. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did and you want to see more videos relating to China and my travels in Asia, please do subscribe and let me know what other topics you would like me to cover. Thank you. Goodbye.